Hi everybody, Andrew here from Pacific Coast Auto, taking a look at the results of last week's auction picks. Up first, the Chubu Lutecia RX-7 FD. This one was unsold and only got bid up to $21.70. That's well under Derek's guess, and I can understand the seller holding out for more. The Fiat Uno Turbo Abarth did sell. That one went for more than double Derek's guess, selling for $4,430. The very cool two-tone Honda Active van was sadly unsold. It only got bid up to $210. Hopefully it'll come up again this week and someone will give it a good home, because that thing's pretty awesome. The Mitsubishi Debonair was also unsold and was bid up to almost exactly Derek's guess. That one topped out at $1,550. The Alfa Romeo 156 GTA did sell. That one went for $7,130. There was absolutely no interest in that Winnebago. It was unsold with no bids. The Mazda Shantae is going to stay around for at least one more week, because that one was unsold. It only got bid up to $710. The Toyota Blizzard did sell. Someone took that one home for $1,180. The uninspected Toyota Chaser also sold. That one went for $4,180. And finally, the Toyota Blademaster sold for almost exactly Derek's guess. Someone picked that one up for $2,300. That's going to do it for last week's picks. Now here's Derek with this week's.
Hey guys, it's Derek here. This is our last video of the year, and so next time we see you is going to be several weeks from now, because we are going on vacation for a full 16 days in a row, it turns out, this year. And so that's from this Friday will be our last day, and then the Monday the 8th will be our first day back in January. And so give me a pat on the back, a virtual pat on the back, and Andrew too. He's actually leaving tomorrow to go down to the States. Now go lucky her, gets to work a few extra days because she does all the documents and stuff. But whatever, let's look at these ones here. We got 7 picks from the Facebook, and there won't be a video next week. Like I just said, I guess I don't need to repeat myself there. But anyways, let's jump into it. I'm going to try to shoot this one a little bit fast. I know I say that every time, but we're going to try to be honest with that this time. First one from Elijah McDonald, Nissan Skyline GTR at auction here in Japan. And you do have to be careful with cars in the rain, because it's going to show like paint fade and scratches and stuff. It's not going to show up as well in the rain from the inspector or in the pictures here. You might be able to see, you might not. And so it's a black GTR. What is special about it? Let's have a look. So it's a year 2000 GTR. It's not a V-spec or anything like that, so that'll keep the price down. Body looks to be pretty good with repaint marks in several areas, but no scratches or dents on there. But do remember about the rain there. Interior is dirty, end panel dented, underside scratch, dent, and surface rust. Underside of the arrow is scratched, and exterior has various scratches on it. The mileage is nice and low at 45 kilometers, so that's really nice. These ones only come with a 6-speed manual. And everything is original to the Brembo's 18-inch wheels, which are pretty lovely wheel, and original front spoiler aero parts. So there you go. Interesting. The dealer plate is on here. I don't know why they would want to leave their dealer plate on there. Okay, so yeah, good body, low mileage is going to keep the price up, and so starting price is 4 million. I'm going to guess that this one will go for about 5.2 million yen, and so we'll see in January about that. In the next video we'll show you the prices for these ones. The next car here we have an 8.6. This one, oh, pardon me. This one was sent in by Elijah McDonald. I don't know if I said that. I just did a full day of work, and so my brain's pretty much done already. Next one, Redneck Hunter. Regular for these videos, so thank you for sticking around. It's an 8.6, and he says it's hard to believe that this car is a 1984, still looks sharp 33 years later. It looks very 80s. This car. This is kind of like, when I think of an 80s car, I always think of the 8.6, whether it be the interior or the exterior, and I just love the way that these cars look. I always have. I especially like the way that the rear end here kind of slants forward like that, especially without a spoiler. In the States and in Canada, we only got the spoiler on the early model ones, and it was the matching spoiler of this, but it comes in black, actually. This spoiler has been repainted, and in fact, I don't think that this car is original red. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is a 1984, which would make that an early model, or the Zenki model. Corolla Levin GT Apex. It has the cool front grille that opens itself up when temperatures get hot. Very cool. You can manually open it too if you want. And when they break, in my experience, they always break in the open way, not the closed way, and so this one's probably still functioning. This is the original front bumper for the early generation, original side skirts, and the original tail lights. The exhaust looks like if it was modified, it's not heavily modified. 37,843 kilometers is insane. Holy moly. 5-speed manual. Original aero parts, front, side, and rear. P1 racing wheels. I'm not a huge fan of the P1 racing wheels, but they're really light, and I guess that's a really good thing, especially with a low-powered car like this. Aftermarket exhaust header, exhaust, aftermarket air filter, and seats have covers on them, which is a big deal because the seats in these are really hard to find in good condition. So hopefully the seats underneath are in good condition, and they have had the seat covers on them for a long time, not the other way around, as in the seats got ripped and then covers got put on them to cover the badness. But they are the original seats, look at that. So that's really cool. Don't see any damage and cracking around here, which is pretty common. Okay, back to the auction sheet here. And so we have some accident damage, core support and front cross member and floor and left front inner panel and left front member and right front member, one part have all been replaced. That's a pretty serious accident, and an accident on an old car like this is a little bit more concerning because any part that's been repaired from an accident might be more susceptible to rust or corrosion in the areas that it got repaired, and so do keep that in mind. It also says various corrosion and corrosion repairs on the car. And then dash panel is deformed, trunk floor has a corrosion hole, various repairs on it, back panel and trunk floor are deformed, and dashboard comes up, floor side member dented. And then body looks not bad, there's some paint fade here, here, and here, and then we got some corrosion here and corrosion here. It's definitely not too far gone compared to your average 8.6. And then when it comes to the accident damage, typically I would steer clear of a vehicle with that much damage. But considering this is an 8.6 and probably about 85% of them have been in an accident and several of them have been in multiple accidents, maybe it might be okay. The low kilometers would definitely be a thing, and if you were able to see it in person and see exactly how it looks, I think that would go a long way. I do expect this one to sell for quite a bit. So let's see, we got a starting price of $250. I'm going to guess this one excuse me, perfect audio for the video. 1.2 million yen, I'm going to guess on this, which is, I would guess somewhere around 1.6, 1.8, had it not had such a bad accident and lots of corrosion damage, but I'm going to guess 1.2 on this. Next one for Raymond Yu, sent in an MR2. These wheels look awesome on the car, I have to say. Yes, like very much. And the white with the white wheels is a good look. This is a late model, you can see because of the round tail lights on it. I think it's a car that not enough people care about. I think that they're great cars right out of the box. I think that they're fast, well handling. A lot of this car and kind of like the S2000 get a bad reputation for being snap oversteery, but I don't think that that's a problem if you know what you're doing and you know the limits of your car and you tested it out in a parking lot when nobody's looking. And so, yeah, good car. Okay, so 254,000 kilometers is a lot of mileage. It's everything's in English there, so you can read that. Army wheel. Don't know what that means. I don't know what a wheel is. And auto AC. What do we got here in Japanese? Driver's airbag is missing. Airbag lamp is on. There's a water leak. Water leak in this engine is a no-go. I would absolutely not bid on one that has a water leak because they're known to have kind of like coolant-ish problems. A lot of the ones that we've bought have had them, and so I just don't want the headache of that. They're complicated cars with the radiator in the front and then hard pipes that go to the back, and it's just, yeah, it's a complication I wouldn't want to have to deal with in this. Go get a car that doesn't have that problem. Probably this is going to sell to somebody and their exporter's not going to mention that and just put some radiator stop leak in it or something like that. And yeah, bad news. But because of that, I don't expect it to sell for a very low price. Like, to me, that's a big deal, but I don't think it's going to affect the price enough to make it worth it. And so body looks really clean except for an AU3 on the side that we can't see very well. You might be able to see that a bit in the picture. Hard to say. High mileage on the water leak. I could see this one going for about 330,000 yen, I think. On to the next one. That was Raymond Yu. On to the next one, Bill Courtney. Bill sent in this bad boy, and he says, expanding U.S. legal to 1993 in anticipation for the new year. Because from this year, you can now import under the 25-year rule 1993 vehicles. So let's go for the Safari. It's either brown or rusted. Does rust count as a color change? Very funny, Bill. It is the color of rust, which is probably a good color for this vehicle because it would blend the rust in nicely, and Safaris are known to rust even worse than Land Cruisers. Okay, so this is a high roof. Is it a King Road version? That's such a cool name. Oh, they don't say it. It isn't, though. The King Road is a 4.2 turbo, and this is a 3.2 liter diesel. Okay, 5-speed manual, though, is pretty rare. The high roof, and it has the high roof with the extra little window up here, and not all the high roof has that. And so that's really cool. I love the look of that. It's kind of like a monobrow, perfect for people who love monobrows or who are proud of their own monobrow. Winch on the front, cool yellow fog lights there. Wingy wipers for the headlights, very cool. And they're ugly cars, but I love them. And I think that these are competitive with the Land Cruisers of the same era. I really love Land Cruisers. I really love Safaris. Land Cruisers were much more common, though, so yeah. Reliability and build quality, they seem to be about even in my opinion. So it's an auction grade 3, 182,038 kilometers. We got lots of rust and damage and stuff like that. Underside and the frame have been painted. Core support has a corrosion hole in it. Carpet cigarette burn. The seat is saggy. A lot of people have sent this to me, just kind of like, hey, what's this? Safari, I need a translation, brother. And so I send the translations. Too rusty in my opinion, and so I don't think that it would be a good one to bring in. But these sell for slightly less than Land Cruiser prices, probably about 10% less or so. And I'm going to guess on this one, you're looking at about 650,000 yen, despite the corrosion on it. A good one will be over $1 million every time. Okay, Bill, thanks for sending that one in. We got Raymond Liang. I'm going to need you to record your name and send it to me in an email because I feel like I'm messing that up every time. Look at this. We got a picture of the turbo. How cool is that? We never see sellers taking pictures of their turbos and then sending them in, so that's really cool. Okay, so it's an FD. This one here is a 2002. I think that's the final year that they made the FD Type RB. And wow, we got a lot of comments here. So the car's been in an accident. It's an auction grade R, but only 35,092 kilometers. So not a lot of kilometers for that person to get into an accident. And so possibly this caused the problem, because that seems like it's going to be a lot more power than the stock FD puts out. And the stock FD for this generation is 280 PS, so 276 horsepower. It says various modifications, see yourself for details. And authentic mileage on it, hasn't been rolled back. Body seems to be a little bit weak. And lots and lots and lots of accident damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if you count both left and right, 8, 9, 10. 10 areas of accident damage notes on here. And so that's pretty bad. Nothing else really seems that bad. Dashboard glue mark, rear seat. One part has been removed, probably the back piece. Because, is there a cage in this one? You can't fit a cage in without removing the back piece from what I've seen. And color change to white. For me, that's a no-no. I don't think it's a good car. I don't think it's going to sell for a lot. So the low mileage is cool, but and the body to some people is cool too. Do you notice there's the over fenders here? I don't know if the rear has been over fendered, but I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem that good to me. And so I'm going to say this one's 650,000 yen. Probably good for a race car, and that's about it. I wouldn't want to restore this back to road car quality. Okay, on to the next one, second to last one from James Harvard. Is this your first time sending one in? If it is, thank you. You sent in a car that I'm quite interested in. I see these on the road all the time, and they look really good. And because I'm from Canada and we don't get cool Euro cars in Canada, I'm not used to seeing the awesomeness that is the Euro cars, and to me they feel a little bit more special. Sort of like, you know, when people in the US see a Skyline, and they say, wow, that's the car that I never get to see, and so it is really special to see it. I still get the same thing with a lot of Euro cars, because Renault and Citroën and Peugeot and Alfa Romeo, they didn't make cars in Canada at all for like 30. Well, Alfa Romeo stopped in the 80s, early 80s, like 82 or something, and then the other manufacturers, I don't even know when they stopped. So it's a modern car. What's cool about the Lutecia, it's also known as the Clio in other markets, is they made really, really badass V6 rear-wheel drive ones of this, but they stopped at this generation, which is really a shame. I would love to see another one. I just reported on one last week of the very first generation. And today, I reported on a Renault 5 Turbo, which is the mid-engine rear-wheel drive kind of ancestor to the Clio Sport V6. Look at these two pictures. It's like, couldn't you think of something else to use that other picture for? Weird. And the shifter here is, or the e-brake, is crazy. Okay, so Lutecia Sport Chassis Cup? I don't know what it means, but it sounds cool. 4.5 B and B. Body looks to be really good. Animal hair inside. Wheels scraped, but general condition of the vehicle looks good. 40,000 kilometers. It's a 2014. Yeah, the car seems to be alright. I don't know if it's going to add some price, considering this is called a Chassis Cup. Maybe it's kind of like the out-of-the-box racing package, or maybe it's just a color scheme. If I knew the car better, then I would be able to at least have a little bit more knowledge. Starting price $380. I think that somebody's willing to pay about 1.2 for this, but I could be way off on this one because I don't know this car that well. I just know that they look pretty awesome in my opinion. And on to the last one, was sent in by banpay.net. There's a little bit of promo there because he's a nice guy. And he sent in this one here. He says, I still find it hard to believe that there is such a huge market for these aftermarket Volkswagen T1 dress-up kits. I've seen some bars with kits like this, but never in every wagon before. Okay, so he's referring to this being a Japanese K car that has been made to look like a Volkswagen. Really, really cool. Some of them are done really well, but the fact of the matter is these K-Vans are not that lovely to drive because they're commercial vehicles that are made to be cheap and made to lug around stuff. And so it's not as fun to drive something like this as it would be to drive a Honda City Turbo or something cool like that. Looks like we have wear here from the paint. This is gross. Everything else has been painted. I think that they're cool looking. I think if you're okay with the suckiness of driving them, which, you know, a lot of people are. So I like old vehicles, and I would put up with the suckiness of driving for image in some circumstances. For me, not one of these though, but they do have dual sliding doors, and they usually have flip-de-doo seats in the back where the back seat will flip and then flip again. Come on, loading, do it. Like flip down and then go completely flat to the floor, so the back of the seats is the same level as the entire rest of the floor. And so they're very useful in that respect. You can lock them, so it's not like a K truck where people will steal anything out of the back. You can just put whatever you want inside and then lock it up and then be happy about that. Looks like the rear bumper is in the back here, and it is not on the car. It would look better with the rear bumper. So this one's a Suzuki Every, and then Mr. Banpay.net said that he's seen them before with the soundbars. Pretty much every K truck has this kind of kit for them, and they're pretty easy to find. They were very popular here in Japan. Okay, and so for a price for this one, let's have a look at the auction sheet. It's a year 2000, relatively new. Oh, this is a no-claim car with no inspection, and so 107,000 kilometers. That's not to say that the car is necessarily bad, but it might be, and you don't get to know any information. It could have a blown engine or something, and we just wouldn't know. We just know that it's able to start up and drive into the photo lot, and then look at the rear. Where's the rear? Come on. And look for white smoke coming out of the exhaust, and that's basically all you get to know about it. So, super risk, and therefore it's going to be cheap. I'm going to guess this one will go for about 60,000 yen if the condition is so-so. If the condition is really bad, it could be less than that. But that's going to be my guess for it. That's going to be it. I've spoken for less than 20 minutes here, and so that's probably a new record for me. So see you again after in 2018, And that's going to be it. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.